In honor of its re-release of the 15th year anniversary, I finally watched Coraline in theaters. So let's get started on my review. Let's go. What's going on all my Flicksters? This is Jacey from Jacey Flicks, and I just got back from watching Coraline in theaters for the 15th year anniversary this weekend. Now, before I do get started with my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review, just in case you haven't seen it, especially if it's in theaters for its 3D re-release, even on streaming and all of that. Also, please make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more nostalgic movies that I'm reviewing just like this. So Coraline stars Dakota Fanning, Ian McShane, Terry Hatcher, Keith David, and more. While exploring her new home, a girl named Coraline discovers a secret door, behind which lies an alternate world that closely resembles hers, but in many ways better. She rejoices in her discovery until other mother and the rest of her parallel family try to keep her there forever. Coraline must use all her resources and bravery to make it back to her own family and life. Henry Selick, the acclaimed stop-motion animation director behind The Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach, created this world of Coraline and, of course, directed this film. When I heard that theaters were bringing back a stop-motion film like this to my area, I knew I had to go and check it out. Now, don't get me wrong, I also wanted to go and check out Alien Romulus because there is some hype surrounding that movie as well, but this movie just kind of felt like it was going to satisfy a craving that I've had for a while, which means bringing back stop motion animation and just animation in general. You guys know that I'm big on animation. I love cartoons, I love horror, but I love all of these stop motion films that we used to get back in the day, and it's kind of slowed down these past few years. Now, on top of this film's re-release for its 15th anniversary, they also announced that it was going to have a 3D release. Now, I was definitely in for this experience, although I know 3D has been kind of outdated and people don't really watch 3D things anymore. But this was different because it's not only stop motion animation, but it's a unique experience. I had not only heard from social media, but I had heard from fans of Coraline from back in the day. Now, I probably should have prefaced this in the beginning, but I am a huge fan of Leica Studios and their stop motion animation films. Not only am I a fan of their films because of the dying art of stop motion animation, like I just mentioned, but it also takes months and months just to film one scene. And also because of their unique takes on stories overall. Seeing Coraline in 3D enhanced the experience for me overall, making it worth the extra cost for a flawless three-dimensional effect. Selick has suggested that this film is suitable for brave children of any age, but that might just be an understatement. The film's disturbing elements stem from its narrative rather than explicit gore or anything of that nature, creating more of a sense of unease that's rare in cinema nowadays. It's important to consider, though, that this film is far from child-friendly. Its atmosphere is akin to a haunting nightmare. I would be cautious about bringing children younger than 10 to see this film because they may just be scared of it, especially with its content. From the start, the film's exceptional stop-motion animation is evident. Despite my initial assumptions that it is computer-generated, this film was actually made with physical hand models and figures, especially when you go and look at some of the behind the scenes, which I did when I came back from watching the movie, and it really acts as a magical type of device that just adds to the experience as you're watching it. And especially in the theaters with a 3D glasses, it really picks up on the intricate details. But what sets Coraline apart is its protagonist. Unlike typical heroines, Coraline Jones, voiced by Dakota Fanning, is not a sweet, agreeable child. She's a reluctant girl with a strong personality, and her adventure involves confronting sinister doppelgangers of herself, her parents, and anyone in that world trying to stop her. What also makes it more intriguing is the villain, which, as I have said in the beginning of this video, is the quote-unquote other mother that you soon find out is not all what she's cracked up to be. Not only that, but come to find out she has some ulterior motives for Coraline and any people who enter into her alternate world. Up until this point, I don't think I had ever seen a stop-motion animation that has a story as unique as this film, where things aren't, again, what they appear to be, and that features a villain that puts on a facade to the protagonist. As far as the animation, it's top notch. If you have never seen a Leica film before, you know that stop motion is not only a dying art form, as I previously said, but it's done with perfection and flow throughout. Just like any other film in the past, as far as the 3D experience, the 3D effects really kind of are the opposite of what you're expecting. They not only contribute to the film's gloomy ambiance, though it may not be necessary to everyone, I think it added more to it. Some viewers might find it a little hard to engage with the story with its 3D experience, but I feel like it added a lot to it. Nonetheless, in this film's visual artistry, it's striking and it appeals particularly to those who appreciate intricate animation and storytelling. This movie stands out for its creativity, emotional depth, and originality, setting it apart from even some of the recent animated features. It's personally one of my favorites. It's a commendable example of what traditional animation techniques lack, and it takes a unique path with the plot and kind of a twist. Interesting thing about this film too is that it's sort of like a cautionary tale. Although not realistic, it shows the viewer that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's really greener wherever you water it. Sometimes if you don't see what your life has and what it has to offer, you may be searching elsewhere to try to find something that's perfect. And let's be honest, things are never perfect in this world we live in. Lastly, when it comes to the voices, it took me a while to notice that Coraline was voiced by Dakota Fanning. Not because I don't know her voice, which I do, but because she immerses herself in the character completely. Ian McShane plays the almost unrecognizable voice of the character Mr. Bobinski, who is her neighbor at the apartment. Not only that, but you get Keith David, who plays the wise but mysterious cat that eventually leads Coraline to the truth. It's very interesting to hear Keith David's deep and menacing voice as a character who is sort of opening Coraline's eyes throughout this film. And especially at first, you don't know if they're good, but you also don't know if they're really bad. And as the film goes on and the character reveals more, then you start to see who they really are. Speaking of Coraline opening her eyes to things throughout this film, of course, the villain who wants to turn Coraline's eyes into buttons is played brilliantly by Teri Hatcher. And I have to say she is very underrated in her performance throughout this movie. Playing the at first nice and helpful, but eventually evil and sinister other mother, Teri Hatcher kills this role all throughout. I know that people will really appreciate this film, and even as the years have come, I have constantly seen posts on social media really appreciating this film. So you're starting to get kind of a cult classic type of vibe when it comes to Coraline, but anyone who has ever seen Henry Selick's films as well as a Leica Studio film will appreciate this film. And please, I want to urge everyone out there to go and see this film for its re-release. And I'm telling you, the 3D will not bug you or won't irritate you like previous films when 3D was hot, years ago in the 2010s. I know you will appreciate it, especially if you like animation and stop motion animation. With all that being said, you guys, I'm going to give Coraline 4 flames out of 5 and a fire film rating.
It's good. It's good.
Coraline is not perfect, but it is a remarkable film that not only takes chances and risks that I feel like we're missing in today's cinema, but also appreciates the artistry for stop motion animation and really gives a new twist and an original tale. I'm glad I was able to experience this film this past weekend for its 15th year anniversary of its re-release, and in 3D that I've never seen a stop motion animation in 3D like this. Also, another thing to note right before I was going to film this is that Leica Studios just unveiled their new stop motion animation film that is coming out soon, titled Wildwood. And I cannot wait to see this, you guys, especially as I'm giving a positive review like this on a re-release of a nostalgic film that's so now gaining so much steam and becoming a cult classic. I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am to see that they're still making films of that artistry. All right, guys, so have you seen Coraline? Even though it is about 15 years old or so, did you get a chance to go and check it out in theaters for its re-release in 3D? If so, let me know in the comments what you thought of it as far as the original Blu-ray or streaming version of the movie or its 3D re-release. Did you guys see much of a difference? Did you catch on to some of the details? Did you prefer the 3D over the Blu-ray or streaming version, or vice versa? Also, what Leica Studios film is your favorite? Mine personally has to be Paranorman or even Kubo and the Two Strings. I feel like they're highly underrated. But please, again, let me know in the comments below, you guys. And last thing before I do go, please make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more nostalgic films that I'm reviewing just like this. My name is Jacey from Jacey Flicks, and until next time, I'm out.